I'm Primal Piggy. Thank you for joining us for another BDSM United podcast in our new and improved and updated slave training program. We've been talking about controlling the slave in the last several podcasts, and we're going to continue on that note with more aspects of controlling the slave. Controlling physical actions means controlling the actual body of the slave, which include the body's location at any time, the position the body is in, such as kneeling and standing, uh, how the body can change locations from one place to another, the manner or style in which the body moves, the body's sexual feelings and experiences, and also the body's speech. This involves the master establishing his ownership of the body movements of the slave. The control of its movements and actions is a significant part of the slave's learning how to serve, obey, and please. It's necessary to establish, practice, and enforce rules of behavior for your slave. This allows a structured and consistent way of controlling your slave's behavior. Controlling a slave's body positions and establishing modes and rules of submission. It is controlling physical actions includes, but is not limited to, establishing rules for actions the slave will take, teaching them positions, rules for presenting, and modes. This part defines how a slave conducts itself around the dominant. It could, if you wish, include how it presents you a glass of water, stands before you, walks around the house, and many other things. Controlling a slave's speech. Often a master spends time voice training a slave. This usually means restricting the slave's speech. Voice training compels a slave to speak in the pattern and inflection that you find desirable and is befitting its position as your slave. Controlling a slave's sexual being. Another subcategory of controlling physical actions is controlling the sexuality or sexual being of a slave. You own its sexual being, which means you choose how, with whom, when, and where it has any sexual activity. The slave has no right of sexual refusal to you. It also has no right to receive sexual pleasure without your permission. A slave's orgasms become a privilege granted by the master or mistress and no longer a right that it enjoys. Orgasms are only allowed at your command. A master usually requires a slave to ask for permission before it can have an orgasm. A master often makes its slave beg before granting that permission. Often, a slave is allowed to reach orgasm. If it is, it should thank the master for allowing it. It's not necessary that you allow a slave to even have an orgasm each time you use it for your own pleasure. The slave's sexual being serves at your pleasure. Using it for your pleasure and not allowing it to reach orgasm can be an effective training tool. It presents the slave with the task of pleasing without feeling the pleasure itself. Denial is part of training for many masters or mistresses. Slave must always thank you for using its body for your pleasure, including the times you denied the slave an orgasm. Its sexual being is for your pleasure. The slave should thank you for taking your pleasure by using it. Training techniques should be developed to reinforce and show the comprehensive range of control that you have over slaves' sexual energy. Teaching your slave fucking positions may also be a useful tool. You can establish a different word command for each position you would like it to be able to assume. Simply with one word or one command from you, slave knows what sexual position you wish for it to assume, so you can use its body for your pleasure. Your own slave's body. You teach it how you want it to use it. In addition, you can teach slave an automatic position that's required to assume for use sexually. It, for example, if, for example, you want the slave in the middle of the night, there is not always a need for foreplay. You own the slave, so you approach it or wake it up, and it knows to get in the automatic position while you use it for pleasure. You may or may not allow it to come. That is really your decision. Slave must thank you for using its body for your pleasure. I'm Primal Piggy. Thank you for listening to this slave training series. It's one of our most popular topics. You can find all of our resources at our website, which is bdsmunited.com. If you're listening on your favorite platform, we just ask that you please leave a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, maybe leave a comment or a review. It's a way for you to connect with us, and it's also a way for other adults to find this kind of BDSM educational resources. We're giving this education away for free because when other adults in our lifestyle are educated, it makes our entire community better. So thank you for playing your part in making a better community, a better BDSM community. I've enjoyed talking with you today, and I'll talk to you again soon.